Well, good afternoon there, YouTubers. It's a beautiful day here in the mountains. I'm outside my house. It's Tuesday, November 15th. The temperature's in the mid-50s, just a beautiful day. And I'm out here getting my trailer ready to go on a trip that next week. We're going to go away for about a week over Thanksgiving. And I thought I'd make a little video and talk about traveling. This is the fourth attempt to shoot this. I just got done shooting it. It came out really, really well, and I realized I had the camera turned on backwards, and I was filming the area behind the camera the whole time. So hopefully I'll get it right this time. But those of you that watch any of my videos know that I spent many years working for various fire departments as a fire chief. And all the departments that I ever worked at were small departments, and we never had enough staff to do what we needed to do. And so as a result, they were pretty much a 24/7, 365 job for me, which meant I had to be around a lot, which means I didn't get to travel near as much as I'd like to. I love to travel. So we made the commitment that when I retired, that we would take time for ourselves and we would travel, and we pretty much have done that. When I retired the first time back in 1998, we had a large fifth wheel, and I'll do a video about that sometime. But we went out on a big long trip. We called it the Big Trip, and we were gone for 7 months, and we went through 32 states and put 16,000 miles on the truck, and we're gone for 7 months. We were thinking about going full-time RVing, and we decided not to. And we ended up coming back, and I ended up going back to work, and we ended up selling the RV. And for a few years, we didn't have one, and then we got back into it again, and we bought the trailer that you see behind me. And well, we bought that in it's a 2018. We bought it in late 2017, and we used it quite a bit the first couple of years. In 2017, we took a long trip. We went clear up into Oregon and went over to the Oregon coast of Newport and worked the whole north half of the Oregon coast, clear up into Washington, all the way around the Olympic Peninsula and all around Washington. In 2019, we went back to Oregon and we went back to Newport, but that time we took the south coast all the way down into Northern California and looped back. It was a beautiful time, had a good time. And then we went on a lot of smaller trips. In 2019, we spent like 75 nights or something like that in the trailer, which that's over 2 months. And so what we were kind of getting into the routine of being gone about a week a month. And so that was a lot of fun. We'd go on one big long out-of-state trip, but then the rest of the time we'd go on little trips of a few days at a time, and we'd go to different destinations in Arizona and places we hadn't been or hadn't spent time, and just go explore the area. And we've done quite a bit of that. Well, 2020 came along, and we all know what happened then. And we were actually on a trip. We were in Nevada when COVID broke. And so we cut our trip short. We boogied back home, and we kind of hunkered down and isolated ourselves to see what was going to happen with COVID and minimized our contact with anybody. And we survived that. Neither one of us got it. Well, 2021 came along, and we felt a little more comfortable with what was going on. And so we did take a big trip in 2021. We actually made a big loop all the way up through Nevada and Idaho, all the way up the Canadian border, and back around through Montana and Wyoming and Colorado and Utah and back home that way. We were gone for 4 weeks, had a good time, went on some other smaller trips, and we really enjoyed ourselves. Well, this year came along, and it's been a little different now this year. Obviously, with the world affairs and not knowing what was going to happen with the war in Ukraine and the gas prices going through the roof and everything, that's kind of affected us. But the big thing that affected us this year was my wife had a hand problem and had to have hand surgery, and on her right thumb, and of course she's right-handed. So we had that surgery earlier this year. She actually got to the point where she almost had no use of her hand. She didn't want to drive anymore. She's a quilter, so it was just killing her that she couldn't work in her sewing room. And it finally got to the point where she decided to go ahead and have surgery on it. So we found a good hand specialist in the Phoenix area, and she had surgery earlier this year. But what that meant is that she could not use her hand at all for most of the summer. And that meant, of course, that I had to stay home, and I had to do the cooking and the cleaning and the domestic stuff and the shopping. And so I had to stay home and be a good boy, and I did that. And now her hand's getting better, and now we're getting to the point where we think maybe we can get out and go explore again. So we have a trip scheduled. We're going to leave next week over Thanksgiving week, and we're going to a little town in New Mexico. And then in December, over Christmas week, we're going to go to another little town in Arizona, and we're going to get back on the road again. But so I'm getting my trailer ready, and just figured I'd talk a little bit about it. One of the issues I'm having right now, and of course you always have issues when you're dealing with RVs, and one of the issues that I have is that my trailer has a slide out, and the slide out has a seal along the top of it. It's called a D seal, and I've got a scrap of it here. I dropped it, it's on the ground. I have to bend over and pick it up, but I'll show you what it is, and I'll explain to you what the problem is. I don't know how well this will show up on camera, but this is a piece of the D seal. And what it does is it fits on a track. This center section here fits on a track right above on the top of the slide where that black part is that you can see behind me. And then when the slide closes, that flange comes up presses against this and pinches it off so it won't leak rainwater inside the trailer. Well, what ends up happening is this part here ends up getting dry, and this part ends up getting dry, and they stick together. And when they stick together and you open the slide, especially when you haven't opened it for a while, it'll end up pulling this clear out off the track. And that means I have to climb up on top, lay down flat on my belly, and reach over the side and put it back on. And it's kind of a pain in the butt. And so what you do is you have some kind of lubrication that you put on here. Now, when I asked the factory people about it, they said that you use talcum powder. Well, I'm sorry, but talcum powder is only good until it rains. And as soon as it rains, it washes away and doesn't work anymore. And so most people use some kind of grease on it. Well, I put some kind of sticky grease on it that I thought would hold up pretty well. And the problem, I kind of shot myself in the foot on it, because the problem I had was that when it gets really cold, the grease on the flange and the grease on the seal stick together, and it pulls the seal apart. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to shoot a little WD-40 up there and see if I can loosen that up, and I'm going to try to get that grease off of there. Now we got a car coming by. And get that grease off of there and put something a little different on it for lube. So the next few days before we go, I'm going to get the trailer ready to go, and then the little town we're going at actually doesn't have cell service and does not have internet. So I'll shoot some videos before I leave, and I'll shoot some videos while I'm gone, but I'll be out of pocket for a little bit, and I'll try to get caught up when I get back. So I figured I'd tell you a little bit about what I'm doing today, and I think that's going to be it for the video for right now. Let me take this over here, and I'm going to show you the sealing surface a little better, what we're talking about. See, I've got a ladder up there, and you see that black part across the top above the windows. Well, that's the flange that fits up against that D gasket. And so I got to get up there. I opened the slide just a little bit so I can reach in there and check on it. And then I got to work on that and then get the trailer ready to go. So with that, I'll let you go for the day. As I always say, be kind, be good to each other. Give you a little pan down the street here where I live. I live on a hill, and I got a pretty nice view. I'll show that all to you one of these days. This box in front of me, here's the mailbox. I swing around, go the other way. And we got more traffic coming. These side-by-sides are real popular where I live in Arizona. In Arizona, you can license them as motorcycles, and a lot of people have them just to run around town. It's kind of a fun thing. I thought about getting one. I might still. But anyway, I'll let you go for now. Wish you all have a good day. Love each other, take care of each other, and we'll talk again soon, and peace out.